It's a very good evening and welcome to Network. My name is Siphumelele Zondi. Now, May 25 is Africa Day, and tonight we're celebrating African technology inventions. Our discussion is with Mitch Atakana from Google. We'll chat about African tech innovation and what Google finds when traveling Africa. Mobile money and digital payments concluded in Johannesburg in the last week. Lebusi Jake will have info on what she saw when she was there. We are live, so find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's News Network at SABC.co.za and email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. Now in Africa, there are more people with mobile phones than credit cards. A lot of cash changes hands through mobile money, digital payment system. How companies can properly utilize the platforms was part of the information shared at Mobile Money and Digital Payments, which producer Lebusi Jake attended in Johannesburg.
They say cold hard cash is king, but this idiom might be contrary, especially in the digital times we live in. At this year's Mobile Money and Digital Payments Conference, we saw how your smartphone and fingerprint could be all you need to either catch the bus or pay for goods.
With the Payments World Series, we run a number of niche specialized conferences on payments technology. It's all about how you can move money in a more fast, secure and flexible way.
Smartphone applications SnapScan and mobile money wallet M-Pesa are some of the digital financial transaction tools that allow people the luxury of avoiding queuing at the bank.
You can send money from Tanzania to Kenya and from Kenya to Tanzania real time.
M-Pesa has expanded to Afghanistan, India, Eastern Europe and South Africa. However, this rapidly growing mobile money service is not quite picking up at a satisfactory speed in South Africa's financial market.
South Africa enacted the national switch for the banks a long time ago. And by that fact, the citizens seem to have trusted the banks more. And from my observation is you already have a solution.
Talking about solutions, companies such as this one showcase multiple solutions that could be helpful to the country's transport sector. Some of these services have already been adopted by the Gautrain. The Mobile Money and Digital Payments Conference and Expo is in its 7th year and was held here in Johannesburg from the 20th till the 21st of May.
Now, as consumers, we often accept that our devices are protected simply because we think we have downloaded the correct antivirus software. But how safe are we and how much are we actually being watched? These are some of the issues that will come under the spotlight at the Vodacom Security Summit. Here's Nomatiko with the information for us.
There are many discussions about how Big Brother is really listening to us.
It's important for us to understand what the threat landscape is globally, to apply the necessary security mechanisms to protect our infrastructure as well as obviously our subscribers' information.
So this week's IT Web Summit will be discussing some of these issues. When it comes to network security, society has become rather skeptical of how really safe or secure they are to feel. Identity theft is the most prevalent violation of our sense of security, followed by our computers, laptops, and mobile phones. The most common amongst these is ransomware, which is when hackers shut your device down and send you a message to pay a sum of money, and then they will turn your device back on. But network security is a global issue, as cyber attacks are taking place all over the world.
We've seen a lot of activity since the day before yesterday. There's a lot of attacks taking place against Saudi Arabia. And there's also been a few attacks coming into Africa. So Nigeria's had 2 recent attacks over the last couple of days that we can see. We've also noted that very recently there's been some attacks out of South Africa. Recently, an attack from South Africa to Australia.
Cyber attacks have gotten so sophisticated now that it's becoming hard to trace where the attacks originate from. This is because hackers are getting better at bouncing their signals globally.
It's very important to understand is not to download any freeware. It's far more safer to purchase a subscription. The starting point, a very good starting point, is obviously an antivirus on the phone. In terms of mobile attacks that is growing is the malicious applications, the freebies that people are downloading on their smartphones without proper protection. And those are attacks on mobile devices. particularly in the smartphones. We've seen trends as between 65 and 68% of the Android devices have got no protection.
Much like your home-based computers and laptops, you need to purchase antivirus software for your mobile phones. The attacks are rapid and continuous. In South Africa, we found that in Bloemfontein in Cape Town has a high volume of incoming attacks, while Pretoria and Johannesburg have a high volume of outgoing attacks.
Now let's take a look at what's been happening in the rest of the tech world.
Not only is it the maker of some of the best luxury cars in the world, Germany has now become key players in the electronic car market. The West European country proved this by hosting the world's largest electric car parade.
We wanted to show that electric cars have already won over the hearts of the people. Many people drive electric cars, which we have invited. Hey guys, let's have fun. We want to have a parade. We aim for the world record.
Germany broke the Guinness World Record by parading 577 electronic cars, beating the set record of 508 by Silicon Valley in California, USA. While the Germans were parading e-cars, Japanese were breaking yet another Guinness World Record. Hundreds of Japanese men and women formed a giant image of Pac-Man to set a new Guinness World Record.
I am the creating father of Pac-Man. It has already set new Guinness World Records in the past, and I am very excited by the new challenge for another record.
The giant Pac-Man human logo was also meant to promote Sony Pictures' latest film, Pixels, which celebrates the arcade game's 35th anniversary. I'm pretty sure that most of us have gotten a chance to feed hungry old Pac-Man at one point or another. Moving on to the US of A. An unmanned mini rocket blasted off to space from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida.
And liftoff of the United Launch Alliance.
The 63-meter tall rocket, built and flown by United Launch Alliance in partnership with Lockheed Martin and Boeing, was launched on Wednesday. But there is no clarity as to what the rocket will be doing in orbit or how long it will stay there. Now, good news for cattle owners. Seems like Australians have figured a way in which farmers can keep track of their herds.
We believe that this new technology is going to bring more efficiency, possibly. As the technology gets better, we'll think we'll be able to send the drones out to go and get cattle.
The drones have been fitted with thermal cameras to locate stock in the remote far reaches of properties. Though a great tool for farmers, the cattle themselves seem a little puzzled by being hovered over by this new flying enemy and need to be trained themselves.
As we go to break, we celebrate Africa Day with some tech innovations from the continent. Stay with us.
That goal was outstanding.
Made so much dust that I couldn't see and I hit a stone and we had a puncture.
Catch all these and more every day on Sports Live at 8:30 p.m. on the SABC News Channel.
All right, welcome back. It's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter, News Network at sabc.co.za. Now, startups are sprouting all over Africa. It's said that these are the economy boosters. Let's take a look.
In recent years, Africa has had tech world's attention as an emerging market.
Imagination is a pile of junk.
Rwanda has been leading from the forefront. The World Bank ranks this East African country as the 58th out of 183 nations in the ease of doing business. Coupled with the recent completion of laying the 1,430-mile fiber optic cables across Rwanda, foreign direct investment has been flowing uninterrupted. One of the beneficiaries of this investment is Think, a tech startup garage by Swedish telecom firm Millicom.
The problem we've had in Africa is because there are not so many means, so people are more afraid to invest in those companies, and that is what we're trying to change.
The attractive business atmosphere in sub-Saharan Africa has seen foreign investors reap heavily on their investment. Tech giants IBM, Microsoft and Intel have all increased tech investments in Africa. Millicom is also pressing the enter key to opportunities on the continent. Its incubator in Kigali hosts 4 savvy companies for 6 months. Nigerian company Creedpack is one of them.
Creedpack.com is an online platform where people order for their home items and services. So what we do is we are a marketplace that connects the buyers of home items and services.
The co-founder of Creedpack notes that the need for expert advice for home services and appliances they spotted in Nigeria led them to starting this online market.
Now, joining us in studio is Mitch Atagana. She is from Google and knows a lot about tech innovation in Africa as she travels the continent to learn about more creativity that's taking place here. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network, Mitch.
Thank you so much for having me, Sue.
Could you just tell us about what's happening in Rwanda? We saw a bit of what's happening in Rwanda.
Rwanda is quite exciting. I think it's one of the countries on the continent, and there are many, that has completely transformed the way they do things through technology. I think Paul Kagame has done a really great job of looking at the internet and innovations in tech and how that can help the economy and the people as well. They've got some of the fastest internet I've seen, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the African continent, so you say Rwanda has one of the fastest internet you've seen, but what's happening in, let's say, East Africa, West Africa? What are you seeing there?
Well, East Africa is in the news a lot. So you hear about Kenya, you guys talked about M-Pesa earlier. You hear about what's happening in Tanzania and now Uganda as well. I think, you know, East Africa has kind of taken this whole tech innovation thing and decided this will be, if you will, the second coming of the African continent. And they've done some really amazing things. You've got companies like Brick, which is literally a backup for internet for you. So wherever you go, there will be internet. It will jump onto different networks, different Wi-Fi connections to help you connect to the internet. And then you go to West Africa, where you see a lot of really cool stuff happening in Nigeria and Ghana, and Senegal as well is doing some really cool stuff. So despite the fuel scarcity issues that's happening in Nigeria right now, there is a lot of really cool entrepreneurs who are building amazing things. What excites me about Nigeria and Ghana is that innovations are trying to open up the continent and bring people more into it and open us up to the rest of the world as well.
Let's talk about some of your favorite innovations from that part of Africa, Nigeria.
Okay, so Nigeria, there's so many really cool ones there are. I really, really like a company called Hotels.ng. They essentially, it's not solving world hunger or anything. What they've done is make hotels discoverable in West Africa. So if I'm traveling to Lagos, and anyone who's been to Lagos will tell you it's a scary place to go. You kind of have to know a little something. It really helps you kind of discover places in the city, places to stay that are safe and good prices. So I really like that. And there's also another really cool company there called Top Up Genie. It's just an airtime solution. You just buy airtime and send it to different people. And some people look at it and go, but it's just airtime. You can buy that from your bank. but it's actually not as easy in some parts of the world. And what they've done is find a way to make a payment gateway that's quite easy.
All right, tell us more about Top Up Genie. Do you, is it a code that you type on your mobile phone, or how does it work?
It's actually, there's a site and a mobile site. So you literally put in your details and you say, okay, great, I want to send X amount of airtime to this number or my number, and I will pay with either my bank card or I think they've also plugged in Paga, which is a payment solution sort of in Nigeria, and it sends it to the person, and you get a text message saying you've got X amount of airtime that's been sent to you. And it's network agnostic, which is great as well.
Let's hop over to East Africa again.
Okay.
Some of your favorite innovations there.
Okay, so East Africa, we talked about BRIC already from Kenya. There's a really amazing guy, Patrick Ngowi, that I interviewed about a year ago. He built, his company is called Helvetic, and essentially what he's doing is providing solar power for areas that can't afford it, or people who are not on the electrical grid in East Africa. And it's quite a simple little package, and it's a little bit cheaper than you would normally get. Solar is quite expensive, actually. As much as I would like the world to be on solar, it's a little expensive. And what he's trying to do is to power East Africa in a more cost-effective way. And I think it's a fantastic innovation. And there are these kids that are also, I think, based out of Uganda. What they've done is they have taken a penile horn, which is what midwives use to listen to the fetus and to find out if anything's wrong, if everything's okay. And what they've done is they built an app that you can put a microphone in and you can listen, so you get a more clearer distinction of the heartbeat and the pulse. And that way you can hear if anything is wrong, and they can find out before anything goes wrong. So I really, really like this company.
South Africa gets a lot of flack about, one, the availability of good quality internet, slow innovation in the country. Do you agree with this?
I completely disagree with that. I think South Africa beats to its own drum sometimes. However, I think there's some really cool innovations here. For instance, there's a company out in Stellenbosch called HealthQ. Well, one of their products is HealthQ. It's called LiveQ. And they have built the first metabolic chamber in Southern Africa. And they've gotten so much funding and people are talking about it. And this is out of Stellenbosch University. And they're trying to figure out a way to make health issues easily solvable. And then you've got other companies like Eleanor Craig's project Seasway that's trying to figure out a way to provide free Wi-Fi in connection with the government as well. So I think in Pretoria as well, you get free Wi-Fi that's being provided in some areas, and he's trying to move that across country. So there's some really, really cool stuff happening there.
So you reckon it's just perception in South Africa, is it?
I think it's just, it's a speed thing. So when you look at, I always get asked this question actually quite a lot. They say to me, you've been to some parts of the continent and seen some cool innovation. Who's better? And that's always a tricky question to answer, because I feel, you know, I'm citizen of the continent. I can't answer that question. But when you go to Kenya, Kenya is really good at kind of explaining what they're doing and showing what they're doing. So everyone thinks that's already happening. Where you go to Nigeria, they're hustlers. They hustle completely all the time. And South Africa has infrastructure, but they're also methodical. So a company, for instance, in South Africa is going to stay and build until it feels it's perfect before the world can be invited to the party. So one of my favorite entrepreneurs, A.D. Pina, he just received funding for his company Receiptful, which is a basic, simple solution to help merchants and small businesses with receipts and emailing receipts rather than paper. But no one's going to start shouting the horn about that, because it's not a big, sexy innovation, and that's innovation that's going to employ people, and that's something really important. And that's why I love hotels as well, because these are innovations that solve the biggest problem Africa has, which is unemployment and youth unemployment.
Yeah. And now, Mitch, could you just tell us briefly what Google is doing to help out tech innovation, or to help out in that space on the continent?
Well, so we have a program called Google for Entrepreneurs, which does a lot of stuff around the continent, supports different tech hubs and things like that. So people who need that space to create and build can be there as well. But our developer team has been doing some amazing stuff around the continent. So we've got a program called Launchpad, which essentially is a platform where startups can go sign up and they get free cloud storage and tools that can help them build their business if they're a startup. And if they're scaling, they also get another level higher of things that can help them. I think one of the things they get is like $100,000 worth of cloud solutions and our cloud platform credits to use to build things. So, but also Google by nature, It's supposed to help you kind of take to the world and build cool things online.
Mitch Atakana, it's been good. Thank you very much for joining us and being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Now, it's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter, so stay with us. We're going to take a short break right now. Welcome to Network, a technology news program that also discusses what's trending in social media in and around Africa. MTN has launched its new movie and television streaming service, Front Row. If it's trending, we will find it. That's Network with me, Spumela Lezondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on the SABC News Channel. It's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight. Now, this next insert will be a feast for all football fans, more especially Real Madrid fans. The Spanish football club teamed up with Microsoft in the creation of an app that will directly connect supporters to the team.
Real Madrid is excited to partner with Microsoft and offer our more than 450 million supporters a new mobile app that will allow our fans to stay connected, share the latest club news, updated stats, and match highlights. The Real Madrid app gives our fans incredible access to match summaries, multi-angle camera replays, delayed match coverage, team behind the scenes, team statistics, as well as the opportunity to connect with other fans around the world. You can download the app through the Windows Store or through iOS and Android markets.
A new local application has emerged, giving all South Africans a more convenient way to get about. This new business concept is birthed by young South Africans. We'll have more on this developing business, but for now, let's take a look at what Low Commute really is.
A week and a half ago, a new company called Low Commute launched in Johannesburg. What is Low Commute, you ask? Well, it is Africa's first car-sharing club. Low Commute is essentially an app that allows you to view car availability. Then you can reserve a car and pick it up from various points. Be on the lookout at your nearest airports, shopping malls, and transport stations. The company has T's and C's much like any other rental car service. The difference is that Low Commute bills you per kilometer. The kilometer charges include fuel, insurance, e-tolls, Wi-Fi, cleaning and maintenance. You may keep the car as long as you need it, but be considerate to the next Low Commuter. To gain access to the car, you need a local card, which communicates with a sensor on the car dashboard. The Low Commute website is already available, but the app and registration will go live on June 1st, and the Cape Town commuters will be mobile soon after the launch takes place next month.
Now, here's what some people have been sharing in social media. It's Africa Day tomorrow. Many have been sharing their thoughts on Africa Day in social media. News organizations from around the world have been sharing information on protests in Rwanda on their Twitter accounts. There have been reports of an opposition leader who has been killed, and many are leaving the country to be refugees in foreign countries. Protests started when President Pierre Nkurunziza announced he wanted a third term. Musician from Barbados, Rihanna, is being celebrated for her 10 years in the international music scene. And that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you very much for being a part of our network. Happy Africa Day tomorrow. We leave you with a popular YouTube video that marks a new milestone in the chapter of human flight. It's called Jadman Dubai. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. From me and the rest of the team, have a good one.
If you have a dream, if you have an idea, even it's crazy, try. Flying is a really old dream for the human, and we are pushing the realization of that dream one step towards the final things, to be a bird. I'm not playing with death, I'm playing with life.
Radio check.